The cages. YouTube is awake. Greetings. All right. See what's happening on in the Patreon box. Welcome, Patreon. Welcome. Cool. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Once again, you have stumbled across Real Talk with Keith Motherfucking Walker in the house, weekend edition. And so, um, yeah, greetings. Good to see you again. Appreciate you all stopping in. So, we'll start off today's show playing a little game. Used to play, I don't know, certainly back in the trailer factory and all that good shit. And it was kind of cute and clever and fun and all that kind of stuff. And so it was, the radio would be playing, and it's like, what's the song? Yeah, that. So just for just for the sake of, guess who we're gonna go see tonight? Yeah, we're going to a show tonight. Guess who's playing? And your response is, I don't know, maybe it's so and so, or maybe it's this, or who? And I'm like, no, guess who? Like, I don't know, I can't guess. And it's like, I'm not asking you to guess. It's not a question. It's a statement. Because we're gonna go see Guess Who tonight. Yeah, ha ha ha. Right? And so that always worked with like, hey, that always worked with like either songs or things that phrase with either the band, the Guess Who, or the Who. Like, won't get fooled again. It's like, oh yeah, you just did. Like, who sings that? It's like, I don't know. It's like, what do you mean you don't know? I didn't ask you. To not, like, who sings it? Dork. Anyway, all right, there you go. That's enough of that silly nonsense. Oh, hey, what's going on? Let's see. We got Mark and Sonia hanging out. Difference, Sonia, right? One of them is, we won't get fooled again, which you did. And the other one sings, American woman, did not get away from me. Yeah. So, anyway, old bucket list band from our past, and so hanging out in Vegas. So, um, yeah, I'm not sure. Well, we'll see where today rolls. I kind of had a topic in mind, and then I've just kind of been pretty lazy all day, and I'm just going, well, how much shit do I want to stir in any particular day? So I'm gonna probably not stir too hard with any of this. I don't know. We'll just see where it goes. I got a couple people in the boxes, so we'll see what you guys want to do with it as well as I bounce around. So here we go. So I'm going to read a couple definitions for you because it's always good to know what the fuck you're talking about, ish, right? So want, the word want means to wish for, desire, or feel a need for something. I do what I wish for, desire, or feel a need for. Okay, that fits. All right. That's the first word. And so here's the second word. The second word is choice. The act, right, or power of picking one thing or action over other options. Okay. So what is that? Like deciding what I want? Is that a choice? Or deciding to do something I want? Is that kind of how that fits? Anyway, um, I've had some discussions about these couple of words before, the matter of semantics, how they play out, all that kind of stuff. And again, it's just, the way I look at it is I choose what I want. I want what I choose. They kind of go hand in hand and all that kind of stuff. So, Um, I kind of got the thought about, going down this particular rabbit hole a little bit. Just again, because people get hung up on a lot of semantics and wordplay and but I think it has impact on behavior, for lack of a better way to put it. What do I mean by that? Well, let's put it this way. Um, and I'll just keep it in a box that most of us are pretty familiar with, and so it's when it's about addiction, and so here's my take on it at this point of life, the universe, and everything. I because again, it's I guess it's going to fall into a lot of other topics that are coming up, and all this kind of stuff comes into the stigma of, you know, powerless or moral deficiency, or why don't you just, like the title of the show today, just stop. And, you know, I, and there's a lot of pushback on that. I remember being in the pushback crew in a lot of ways where like assholes would tell you, just quit. Why don't you just stop? And you're like, why don't you just go punch yourself in the chops? Like, what do you mean just stop? Like, I can't stop. Like, and, you know, I don't know. And I get it. I understand that. But can't is a very strong word. And I mean, the truth of it is you can. You can. And like I said, I'm waiting for the pushback crew to come back and go, well, you're powerless. Yeah, you this, well, you that. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the evidence. Is you know what? Because, and I'll just use my own experience, just cause, and many of the rest of you can do it as well. Is you know, if you're an addict, right? What they tell us, what I believe to be true. Again, it's a biological situation, brains change, etc., all this kind of stuff. Once an addict, always an addict, right? But that doesn't mean that you're like can't do anything except that. It's just it is what that is. But as such, I know a lot of addicts who don't use anymore. And it's like, okay, so wait a minute. There was a time where you couldn't stop, right? It's like you just can't say no. You like all of that shit. And then like I don't know, there's a day back there somewhere where he could like stop happened. And I think to myself, well, what the fuck? What was the difference? Like I was still the same guy. I just woke up a different day, and I didn't get high that day. But the day before I couldn't stop. But now today I can. Like what the fuck happened there? And there's a thousand stories to that, right? But the point I'm getting at is that like one day I couldn't stop, and one day I could. Like what's that even? So is there like what was special about that day? What was different? How did I get so much better and stronger and more morally fit and more, and not none of the things. So here's my take in a nutshell. And hopefully this makes some sense. Again, when you get to the word can't, like I can't stop, and it's like, no, that's not true. I know a lot of people who fucking stop getting high. You know what they do? They go get arrested. And then somebody puts them in a jail cell with no drugs. And guess what? They stop getting high. Okay, they didn't necessarily want to, it's just, and they didn't die. Like it didn't kill them to stop. Now, don't let me get scientific and go, okay, benzodiazepines, alcohol, might have to taper. That could kill you. The rest of it, it's not going to kill. Like, you don't die. You might fucking go nuts for a while, right? Because it's like, oh shit, like my brain is not anesthetized anymore, and like the world's beat me upside the head with a 2x4, and oh my god, and all of that stuff, right? That's a part of the chaos, and that's. But the thing of it is again rolling back, and it's just, you can say no, but you don't want to. You choose not to, and like I said, there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of it early on, obviously, is for most of us, if you've been using drugs for a long time and you just stop, guess what? You feel like shit, right? Any of you guys drink coffee? Like, we'll just do that. Like, how about don't have coffee and tell me about your fucking headache at noon, right? And you like go get some fucking caffeine, drink a couple sodas, and fucking right. It it's just that it's 1,000 times worse with like like heroin or something, like, because if you just stop doing that, you're gonna wish you were dead. Like, it's horrible. And so again, it's not necessarily like I want to get high, I just don't want to get low. Whatever you want to call it, I don't want to feel like shit. So what's the point? Well, the point of any of it, like I said, we can take it out of the drug and addict box and just get into the human condition stuff, which is where I like to hang out anyway. Because again, symptoms are symptoms, and everybody's got their little gadgets. But when push comes to shove, we're all designed pretty much the same way. And the bottom line is, it just seems to be that way. Like, when we have something going on, or there's an aspect of our life that we're struggling with or can't stop or do all this shit, you know, it's my experience has been like I don't change until it's more painful not to. Does that make sense? So if I got some issue and I should probably work on that or whatever, but it's hard, it's uncomfortable, it's scary, it's new, it's whatever that is, so I just, I'll do it tomorrow, well, maybe later, I don't get all motivated for it. But, you know, the more uncomfortable I get not taking care of that business or whatever, the more likely I become to do something about it. And that's not because I'm righteous or spiritual or morally correct or any of that. I'm just a wuss, and I get tired of feeling like shit or being uncomfortable. So I fucking grab the toolbox and I get busy on it. Does that make sense? I share this with clients, again, going back to the drug thing or all that kind of stuff. And how does this apply? Well, this is how it applied to me. Like, I ask people, I'm like, why do you get high? Why do you do drugs? And it's like, I like them. I go, okay, what's that even mean? And so, well, I like how they make me feel, or I like how they make me not feel, which is a feeling, right? Or the lack thereof. Like, I like what that does for me. And it's like, okay, so you like getting high. Okay, good. So that's why you do it. Okay, gotcha. Um, or I dislike not getting high. Either or is the motivator, right? And that's what I share with people, and I tell them, um, okay, Sonia or Mark, I see. I'll get there in a second. What I say is, okay, so I don't get high anymore. Like, why is that? And they're like, I don't know. And I said, well, it's not because I don't like it. Because I'll tell you now, decades later, I fucking love that shit. Fuck. I mean, I do. But I don't, I choose not to do that today because I dislike the consequences much worse. Does that make sense? like I have enough resources right now, and I'm healthy enough, like, and there's somebody probably right down the street within blocks of my house, if that, to where I could go fucking do some damage. And but the reason I don't do that is because when I do that, everything gets fucked up really bad. Might kill me. I mean, there's a lot of consequences to that machine. So so I don't do that, regardless of what I think I might get out of it or whatnot. All right, let me look at this question for Mark. Why can't you stop once you start? Well, you can. I mean, my answer to that is, like, you've answered your own questions. You say, why can't I stop once I start? And my answer to you is, well, in order to start, you must have stopped before that. Like, you can't start from start. You start from stop. So you already stopped, and then you start, and so stop again. Does that make sense? Um, I didn't say any of it's easy or any of that kind of stuff, but you can. So yeah, addiction hijacks the survival center of the brain and thinking you need shit. Yes, which is a lie, right? That's the lie. That's bullshit. Because you don't need the shit, right, Sonia? You just, your brain tells you that. It's a lie. It's bullshit. And this is the issue. The second question was, why couldn't I stop starting? I never understood why. Again, yeah, the allergy in the body, obsession in the mind. I get it, right? The obsession of the mind, the allergy of the body, but these these are things that are not absolute, if that makes sense. Because I still have the same mind and body that I had before. What happened again is just what drives me again, the hijack, like, um the the drive again. It's addiction is, again, it's special in a lot of ways, because it's not just the physical piece, but the physical piece is enough. A lot of times, like, people who are physically dependent to, like, their medications are just, it will struggle as much with trying to stop using as anybody else, because it's just simple. When you cut that off, it fucking hurts everything, and you just want that feeling to stop, if that makes sense. And that creates that hijack again, that because there's that part of your brain that's very simple minded, that rat brain. And I look at it as like, the drives are very simplistic. That's why addiction itself can be, we look at it very biologically, because every species on the planet will feel the same shit. Like, if you take a rat and get it all jacked up on cocaine and then you cut it off, it's going to go through withdrawal. It's going to feel like shit, and it's going to want some cocaine. And the next time it sees cocaine, it's going to go get it no matter what, to fix how it feels. It doesn't mean he's a criminal or got colors or had a rough life or any of that. It's just like, I'm tired of feeling like shit. Like, I know that makes me feel better. And that is it's a huge motivator. It's a huge drive to go back to that thing that, again, it is maybe killing you, and or certainly making your life chaotic and all that kind of stuff. And that's the point, is just somewhere, again, if you don't know, you don't know, if that makes sense to you. And that might be where you're at, Mark, is, like, we continue That's why treatment's so helpful, beneficial. All these things, shows like this, people having chats, all this kind of stuff, is we don't know until we know. And if you're just floundering around and, again, going through the cycle of feeling like shit, going and get well, feeling like shit, going to, and just that repetitive thing and feeling like there's no other way. The beauty of all these things is, if you don't know there's no other way, then yeah, you just sit there and suffer in the cycles. But that's the thing is once you know there's other ways, then you can start looking at making choices, changing what you want. And so what I mean by that, the bottom line is, you know, getting clean is not easy, can be very painful, miserable, all that kind of shit. But once you know that that is an option, you know, and we know it is because it's like me or my old lady or fucking all the people we got clean with 40 years ago that are so clean. Like it was a reality. People got clean. People in this room are clean. And they're no different than anybody who isn't clean, except they did the math. However you want to describe that. This is the way I look at it, the best way I can package it. Getting high, this much pros and cons. Feels this good, all these consequences, yada yada. Dude, go through the process, life on life's terms, but healthy, not going to jail. When this outweighs this, then this is what happens. Does that make sense? So that's the part when you talk about the hijack and the bullshit machine is the bullshitter is like is feeding you this is like this is better than this is going to be hard, this is going to hurt, nobody likes you anyway, like fucking just go yada yada yada, right? And just stay like your homies are going to miss you, like fuck. And so all of that stuff feeds the obsession that you talk about and the obsession of the mind. Like this guy over here just keeps talking about the good times, or again, who wants to be a fucking dork? Like, look at the normie. Like, we used to make fun of Joe fucking normie. Like, we'd be all strung out after being up all night, hanging out on the fucking curb in the morning as the sun's coming up and just feeling like shit and watching the fucking clown come out of his house in his fucking slacks and his briefcase and get into his BMW and drive away, and we go, what a fucking chump. Right? While we're like hanging out in the gutter, like scraping the wood pipe for a morning high, and he's the chump. Like, right? And that's the bullshit machine. And so anyway, that's where I get with that. And again, I hesitate at times. I stay out of a lot of chat boxes or conversations because I go right to the jugular when it comes to stuff like that, because we've been so conditioned. And frankly, it's a lot of people in the treatment field and in recovery that I struggle with the most, because we've been so conditioned to pay attention to the symptomologies and the excuse machine. And I I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and grumpy. My tolerance is different for stuff, if that makes sense, for a lot of reasons. And some of it's me, and some of it is just like when I'm talking with somebody who's struggling with their drug use, we'll just stick with the topic, like I very often, like, I get one shot. I get one conversation. I get one time. So there's because if I don't make sense that moment, they go out that night and overdose. I mean, and it just that's kind of where we're at. It's kind of the reality. So it's kind of a big deal, if that makes sense. And it's kind of important. And so I don't spend a lot of time pussyfooting around when it comes to stuff like that. And I go straight to the point. Like if you want to stay clean, if you want a different life, like then do that. Period. Just do that. Just say no. And it's just like, and it's like, well, I'm not sure what to tell you. Like if you don't say no, then you say yes, and yes is going to kill you. So you better fucking say, you better just stop. And it doesn't matter how fucked up it is when you stop or how miserable you feel. Like it doesn't fucking matter. Like if you let that matter, then you're not going to be successful. And then, we're going to read about you in an obituary and people don't like hearing that. And it's like, well, I didn't make the rules. Fuck. I mean, it's not my fault. It just is. And what are you going to do about it? That's always what I get to with people is like, you don't have to fucking like it, what you think about any of it. Like, but what are you going to, at the end of the day, what are you going to fucking do about it? And it's just like, if you have to go home and sit on your fucking hands and chew paint off a wall, then fucking do that. Like, I didn't say it's going to be fun or any of that, but I mean, the evidence is pretty solid. Like most of the time I'm dealing with people is like, you're not here and you're not listening to me because you're like, just saying, like, I'm not judging, but it's like I share with people all the time, you could be doing anything else, but here you are hanging out with me. Now you either love me and you just fucking want to hang out, or you're so fucked up that hanging out anywhere else is not going to help. I don't know. So does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, so I just, like I said, it's people get hung up in semantics of stuff. I'm just not that guy anymore. And I try to keep it a little bit touchy-feely around the edges. Like I don't want to just alienate people because I'm fucking pretty hardcore when it comes to this shit, but I don't know any other way to be anymore. I've just seen so much miserable and failure. I just don't have time for things that are not successful. Does that make sense? Just because you want to shut up, Sonia. Yeah. You're different. I'm not listening. You're right. I'm not. I don't give a shit what you say. You're wrong. You're dumb. I'm kidding. But yeah, if you're that client, again, that's pretty much my response. Sonia says, if you're in a different box, she's in here and she's my partner in crime of sorts as a clinician. But I'm different. You're not listening, which is how people respond. To which I'm just like, you're right. You're right. Like I'm not paying you. I'm not listening to you. Like you like be you, but that was a long time ago. Like you're not going to help me out. So, bro, yep. And they're frowned. They're like, what do you mean I'm not the most important person in the room? And it's like, you got to be fucking kidding me, bro. I'm in here. Motherfucking Walker. Come on. And anyway, it's just, Sonia, Pam, you guys worked in the field, so I know you guys know. I mean, it is frustrating, and we know, again, there's a spiritual piece of all that ails us or whatever it is, and that's the human condition, right? And that's what separates us. But there's just that part. And the old cliche, we don't see until we see, we don't hear until we hear. And that's, so yes, you are different, and yes, I am listening. And but that doesn't change the fact that if you don't fucking change your shit up, you're gonna die. Sorry about it. Like, I mean, I'll listen to you, but you gotta, I mean, you should probably listen to me too. I guess. I don't know. And I can coddle you and pat you on the ass and co-sign your bullshit as much as you like. It's your dime. You're paying me per se. And again, I'm back in the counselor chair, and that's fine. But what is it? What's the goal? Anyway, yeah. Sonia says this conversation is usually when a client asks for a different counselor because I'm too mean. I mean, I don't know. You probably deal with that better than I do, Sonia, because you actually care. You still got some give a shit left in you, and like you got a job and bosses and shit that probably wouldn't let you get away with. You got to be politically correct, Ugh. Or some degree. But yeah, it's just, hey, it's not for everybody. But here's the thing, and this is where, because people will critique me as well, I'm sure, and all that kind of stuff. And I just, the reality of it is, well, I shared this before, but I share it again. I used to be, people would accuse me of beings and stuff like that, break down fucking real talk, and it was not good, and I'd say stupid shit that I'd heard early in recovery, and it was true. Like, I'd say, again, I didn't make this up, but it's just like, take a look around the room, and 5 years from now, one of us is going to be here. And people were like, and I mean, I remember how it was for me the first time I heard that when I was a newcomer. I grabbed my chair with both hands. It's like, I'm that motherfucker. Like, I'm going to be the one here in 5 years. And it was several others stayed, but a whole lot more came in that didn't stay, etc. All that kind of stuff. The point is, the odds are very slim. Like, most of the people that are dealing with such things are not going to win. They just don't. And we know this. I don't judge it, but it's, and it's horrible. And addicts die slow, miserable death. And that bothers me. So again, like Sonia's in here, yeah, incapable of sugarcoating. Like, who has time or energy for sugarcoating just so you can stay miserable for a while because you don't want to hurt their feelings, or I mean, it's hard. It's and anyway, so I don't know. I just, like I said, it anytime I hear that, especially like I said, people who are in recovery or that do therapy or any of that kind of stuff that duck behind the whole, can't stop thing, or just say no. It just, because you can, like, I've shared before, you know, we are, it's all about accountability and responsibility, right? Nobody ever held me at gunpoint to get high. Like, I've always been an active participant. People will respond back. And then, again, when we go to the allergy and the obsession, and I get all that. But the bottom line is, if you hold me at gunpoint, I won't get high. Like, right? A lot of other things might be going on, but so I don't know. There's one way. It's just like, pretend every time you get high, you get shot in the head. It's like, then you won't get high. Well, I mean, that's not too far off in a matter of speaking, if that makes sense. But I don't know. Yeah, well, looks like I got on a fucking roll with that. Cool. Again, if I've offended anybody through this process, I recommend you call your sponsor or your spiritual advisor and find out why you're wrong and why this is bothering you. I'm kidding, sort of. It's never the intent. Like I said, is I can post up pretty hard on a lot of issues, and I usually don't. It's not because I'm wimpy or duck around or any of that kind of stuff. The bottom line is there's a message of hope that's been given to me that I love to share. And so I just always stay mindful of, like, maybe there will be another opportunity down the road to share. Does that make sense? Like, I don't like people, like, I don't go on social media and start blasting and get unfriended and get blocked and get, because today might not be the day to have a reasonable conversation with somebody I don't agree with. But posting up today, even if I'm right, even if it's, this and that, like, does that make sense? And so there's a fine line between that, being diplomatic about things and or being wimpy and co-signing bullshit or any of that kind of nonsense. So that is, again, that's kind of what I'm trying to do, hopefully, with this little gig. Hanging out, I fucking appreciate the that. And so I know I'm not totally insane with my thinking. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. Maybe you guys are insane too. Okay, so let's see. What do you got, Mark? Was in and out of rooms, tried many times to find answers to your questions, came to Virginia and found the solution to your problems. Okay. Here's a question for you, Mark, while you're hanging out. Why is Virginia better than Oregon? Like, do they have special shit out there, or was it just time? Or in 100 words, or what was some of that solution? We'll see if Mark. We'll see what the time lag looks like on that. Interesting. And I'm not discounting it. It's very obvious. I've seen your posting, and how life's treating you. It's worked out well for you. Just a new approach to recovery. Okay, personally, or did you just come across a different therapy model or something like that? Okay. Spiritual fitness. Yeah. That's an interesting, when we get into that, and again, that's why human condition supersedes just addiction or whatever in my book. I remember being early in recovery, and it's like people would say, like, oh, well, let's talk about the spiritual part of recovery. And it's like, is there another part? Like, it all boils down to that. Power is greater than ourselves. The power of, the camaraderie, the group, the people, the passions, etc., all that stuff. Chuck Fulfer. Okay, so if you're in the YouTube, you see that. If you're not, Chuck Fulfer. If you guys are interested, Mark is a big fan. Search on that. See what Chuck. What's up with Chuck? And see how that's added to your program, quote unquote. Appreciate that. And again, common recovery. Is that the program? Common recovery. Okay. Look at me writing shit down and shit. Common recovery. All right, I'll do it. I'm always like I've been playing this game a long time. You guys know this, and there's a lot of tools in my tool bag because I've had a lot of education and trainings and experiences with all that kind of shit. And so I'm always interested in adding to the toolbox because we are not, like you said back there, Sonia, I'm different. And it's like, okay, yes and no. But in that context, no, you're just a whiny client who doesn't like your mean counselor. But in reality, we're as individuals, right? We are very much alike, yet we are quite unique in a lot of ways. And all I mean by that is a different lifetime of experiences, etc. So that being said, we're not all exactly wired the same way. Some things don't work for some people. Like, and that's the thing as a good, yep, human conditions. Yep. Um, as quote unquote a therapist, it's not my job to shove my treatment modality into your head and fix you. It's about finding out what trips your trigger and letting you get to work with that. And so, again, some people are very hardcore, some people are very softcore, some people are very 12 steps, some people are so anti religion, they won't touch that shit with a 10-foot pole. Pam in the Facebook box says, God, good orderly direction, right? Make it work. Make it work for you. And again, if you are on the giving side of a relationship, talking about recovery or any of that, allow the other person to do whatever the fuck they need to when it comes to shit like that. So don't bash God upside their head if they like good orderly direction, because good orderly direction is a power greater than yourself because you make bad, unorderly directives in your real life. You make Bud instead of God. So let them do God. And again, just like everything changes, everything's in constant flux. The universe is always in motion. Things change, we change, and or not. I mean, doesn't have to. One more time, if just get into the simple point, minus all the chaos, minus all the excuses, minus all the reasons, whatever you want to call it. Bottom line is, when we get to it again, and we'll do this up, just stop, is like if you go to sleep, unless you're doing a lot of math, right? But at some point, even in the worst case scenario, at some point, you go to sleep. You physically stop. It's what you do when you wake up. If you just don't pick it up, you don't have to. It's not going to jump in you. Your brain might tell you that you have to, but that is not a fact. It's just not. So that's the beauty of all this kind of stuff here, and where I keep pounding the issue or any of that kind of stuff is, I mean, everybody who's listening to this fucking podcast knows. Now you know. Now you know stop is an option. It is. So you're never allowed to lie to yourself again and say, I can't stop. Oh, yes, you can. You have. Again, if you go to sleep every night, you stop every night. Just don't start again. Well, how do I do that? I get it. I've been there. But there's a toolbox for that. It's fucking hard. It's hard to choose the toolbox and to use it. But it's there. If it wasn't, people like me wouldn't be here. I'm not better than you. I'm not different. same in a lot of ways. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. How cliche is it? Yeah, it's true. I mean, if it's not, then then I am better than you, and that's fucking garbage. Like I'm not gonna, I can't own that. That's dangerous ground for me. But anyway, so I'm gonna wrap that up. Wow, I got a show out of this. Okay, appreciate you guys, and I love bringing people, for lack of a better way to put it, and get people unhung up on shit that's just like it is not helpful to tell me 18 reasons why you can't just stop. Like it's fucked. Then we're fucked, right? I'm just going to tell you how you can. It's not because I'm great. It's just by experiences from those who have. Like they have stop as possible. It's hard. Anyway, enough of that. Saturday. And again, if you came in late, guess who me and Pam are going to go see tonight? You can't get it wasn't a question. We're going to go see the Guess Who. Guess Who? Yeah. American Woman.